The man who just woke up did not notice that there was a shocking news on TV at this moment. A virus similar to rabies has been spreading all over the world recently. Infected people will lose their mind and become aggressive. He hopes that the general public will take good preventive measures. But he didn't see the news. After he went out like usual, he found that there were a lot of ambulances on the road today. And when he went to the supermarket to buy things, he saw that everyone was crazy about purchasing supplies. Although Lei Gay felt strange, he didn't think much. After buying food for a few days, he returned home. He didn't understand what happened until his sister sent a video at night. The other party in the government department knows more. They said that the virus was more serious than reported. The government has built a safe zone on an island in advance. They asked his brother to come and meet him to avoid the epidemic. When they heard that the situation was so serious, Lei Gay immediately booked a plane ticket to prepare for departure. But when he queued up to board the plane, the check-in system suddenly failed. Then he saw that all the flights were canceled. All of a sudden, everyone's mobile phones received an emergency notification. Because the virus spread too fast, the country has completely banned and does not allow anyone to enter. Someone immediately realized that something was wrong and started a fight. Lei Gay also quickly called his sister to inquire about the situation. The other party said to let Chi go home and wait. He immediately sent someone to pick him up. But when he went back, he found that the street was blocked and the water was blocked. The people who received the news were also in panic and began to escape. Seeing the large number of people forced to gather here, Lei Gay, who felt uncomfortable, immediately left the car aside. He walked home with his luggage. But when he returned home tired, he found that his neighbor's house was guarded by a large number of soldiers. He saw that the other party was surrounded by a large number of martial artists. The people who were constantly screaming and twisting their bodies were dizzy. Lei Gay wants to leave as soon as possible, and his thoughts are getting stronger. But the next day, his sister brought bad news. The government not only banned them, but also planned to set up a quarantine area to control the virus. The army will be forced to evacuate everyone soon. But even after the evacuation, the place must be far more dangerous than the safe zone. So he needs his brother to try to avoid the soldiers' search. When this place is completely abandoned, he will go to pick him up. He thought it would take a long time to get help. Lei Gay immediately went to the supermarket to stock up some supplies, but he found that the shelves had already been robbed. There was no way he could only pick up the food scattered on the ground. But when he was about to leave with his backpack, he suddenly saw a famous policeman running over with blood on his arms. Then he scared the door of the supermarket. But before Lei Gay could react, he saw a large number of people screaming and running away. Suddenly, a policeman was pushed to the ground by the infected man. He ran up to the stick and wanted to help, but the next second he was seen by the infected man's violent momentum. The two of them helped each other and finally solved the problem, but before Lei Gay could celebrate the rest of his life, he saw the injured policeman in the house mutated quickly. Looking at his companion's disaster, another injured policeman hurriedly asked Lei Gay to stay away from him. He shot himself in despair, and after Lei Gay went home, he immediately nailed all the windows to death. Then he pulled up the curtains to block the blood in the house. Because at this time, the army had begun to evacuate the people one after another. Soon, there was a knocking sound outside his door. Lei Gay hid in the corner in a hurry and dared not make any sound. Finally, he managed to escape the soldiers' search. Soon, half a month later, the whole city had turned into a ghost city and was completely abandoned. But Lei Gay still did not wait for rescue, and there was no signal to make him unable to contact his sister, and at this time, food was about to run out. There was no way he could only venture out and start searching for supplies. He, who only had a rifle, dared not go too far. He could only break into the neighbor's house nearby and look for it. But he searched for several houses in a row and found nothing, and he insisted on going to the next city. Unexpectedly, he found that there were still people who thought they had evacuated like him. It turned out that the old lady had not been able to evacuate because of the disability of her legs, and his appearance made the situation worse. Fortunately, he knew which house had stocked up food every day. Under his guidance, Lei Gay began to gain something. He also accidentally found a model in one of the houses. The increase in flexibility greatly increased his range of activity. Soon, Lei Ge got a lot of supplies again. The two supported each other like this for a while, but as the nearby supplies were gradually searched, the two of them soon fell into a deadlock. When he was worried about what to do next, the old lady called Lei Ge by walkie-talkie at night. It turned out that he received the news that he listened to the radio every day. Someone was building a stronghold to gather survivors who could not evacuate due to various accidents. Lei Ge got excited as soon as he heard it, but there was no movement on the walkie-talkie. Lei Ge, who thought of something, said that he would not give up. He would definitely help to escape together. But the next day, when he was packing up his things and getting ready to leave, he found that the old lady had taken her own medicine. He was too old to get involved with the kind Lei Ge again. He was so sad that he could only go to the coordinates in the radio alone. But when he came to this place, he found that it was already dangerous here. The roar of the siren made him surrounded by a large number of infected people. Lei Ge had to fight hard to escape from this scary place. Fortunately, the speed of the motorcycle made him easy to get rid of the other party. But before he could be happy, a pile of corpses suddenly appeared in front of him and scared him to fall directly on the ground. Lei Ge was so painful that he rushed to pick up the motorcycle, but he found that the car could not be hit. Looking at the infected people, he had no choice but to leave the motorcycle and run hard. After a long run, he finally stopped them at a pier and blew them up. But a ship did not let him be completely trapped here. Fortunately, he found a body floating on the water not far away. Lei Ge and his crew escaped from here by boat, but as soon as they drove out, there was no sign of them. Just when he didn't know what to do, he saw a freighter coming this way from afar. Lei Ge saw it and shouted loudly. In this way, he was lucky to be saved again. But everyone's eyes and language are different, which makes him feel uneasy. Fortunately, someone learned his country's language. When he heard that they were going to search for supplies to repair the ship by shore, Lei Ge said that he was a local and could lead the way, and he knew there was a safe area. But the captain didn't react much after hearing it. He had seen the so-called safe area of many survivors' organizations. He only saw what Lao Ma told the captain and turned away. It turned out that he lied that Lei Ge was an engineer, because the law is useless in this situation. Only useful people deserve to live. Just like he is a pilot himself. But Lao Ma can only help so much. The rest can only rely on himself. Soon after midnight, Lei Ge heard the shouts from outside. It turned out that they met a few more survivors. But the next day, he didn't see the voices of those people at all. He felt something was wrong, so he came to ask Lao Ma. Lao Ma coldly told him not to worry too much. After hearing it, Lei Ge immediately realized that this place was not as good as he imagined. He claimed that he knew there was a helicopter in a hospital. The two of them could drive him to the safe area to hide, but after thinking about it, Lao Ma still didn't do anything. There was no way for Lei Ge to escape alone. At night, he sneaked into the crew's lounge. He planned to steal the gas tank key and leave by boat, but he found that the survivors who had come up yesterday were tied up here. Lei Ge ran up to untie the rope, but the next second he was about to run away, the other party was shot directly into the sieve. The crew and Lao Ma who were watching him quickly ran down, but at the critical moment, he suddenly attacked the crew. Immediately after a fight, he killed the other party. It turned out that Lao Ma had been convinced by the words of the day. He quickly took a few people on a small boat, but when he was about to leave, he was still found. The survivors who survived were shot instantly. Lao Ma shot the gun to cover up. Sui Ji also injured his shoulder in the battle. Fortunately, the two of them arrived at the shore alive. But after driving to the hospital, he found that there was no sound of a helicopter on the parking screen, and he hadn't figured out what to do next. Lei Ge, who didn't see the road, hit an infected person in front of him directly. He didn't have time to bleed, so he put the windshield glass in the line of sight. He had no choice but to brake urgently and throw the infected person away. Then he took the gun out of the car and killed the other party instantly. Sui Ji quickly turned around and killed all the corpses that came to Wen Shen. Although this move consumed the bullets directly, it also allowed the two of them to enter the hospital smoothly. It's just that Lao Ma's injury couldn't be delayed. Lei Gay and his allies searched for his surgical tools in private. But the next second, they heard a noise coming from the ventilation duct. His allies walked up and listened carefully. They found that there was indeed someone talking inside. His allies, who couldn't find the entrance, called out. But this move directly attracted an infected person. But before he let his guard down, he saw a large number of infected people coming to Wen Shen. Lei Gay could only run downstairs. Then he returned to the operating room and quickly closed the door. But the strange thing was that Lao Ma was gone at this time. The next second, it turned out that there were survivors hiding in the back of the safe. They not only helped Lao Ma with the operation, Lei Gay also learned that the helicopter had stopped in the backyard. He just wanted to get there. He had to go through an area full of infected people. When Lei Gay was thinking about whether to take the risk, he suddenly heard a gunshot downstairs. It turned out that the gangsters on the wheel also searched for supplies and came here. The sudden situation made them have to listen to their lives. But the moment they opened the passage, an infected person suddenly rushed out and knocked down the nurse directly. Although everyone quickly took action to solve it, the woman was still bitten by the infected person. She told everyone not to get close to her. She must take the children away safely. Everyone was extremely sad after hearing this, but they still endured the pain and left her again. Soon they came to the area where there were infected people nearby. Everyone carefully walked over one by one. But when Lei Gay was going to take the last child, there was an accident. The scream instantly attracted the attention of all the infected people. In a hurry, Lei Gay could only hold the child and hide in a closet next to him. But even so, he couldn't hold on for long. Just when he was about to give up, after a gunshot, the outside gradually calmed down. It turned out that the gangsters who searched everywhere accidentally saved him. Fortunately, the other party did not find the heavy door to hide. They managed to escape this crisis. But the next part is the hardest part. Just because there are a lot of infected people in this short distance, this time Lei Gay suddenly had a plan in his mind to tie all the gangsters together. In this way, he could slowly advance while protecting his colleagues. But the plan was not as perfect as expected. All the infected people were crazy. This not only increased the difficulty of their promotion, but also prevented the infected people from flying in the DeLorean way. The gangsters had to keep attacking and advance quickly. Finally, they arrived outside the iron gate. While opening the door, they blocked the gangsters at the door. Then they all ran in and closed it again. But when they started, there was still a chance to climb in. Lei Gay could only keep fighting for time. And at this time, the gangsters also heard the sound and arrived. They quickly used firepower to suppress a road and broke in. Then they shouted loudly to make everyone stop and not to take off. Seeing that the road to survival was about to collapse, Lei Gay directly opened the door without being cut off by a kick. A large number of infected people rushed in instantly and drowned the gangsters. Of course, Lei Gay, who was in it, also almost came back to life. Seeing that there were more and more infected people coming up, Lao Ma could only start the helicopter first and quickly threw down the stairs after taking off. Finally, Lei Gay took the last chance to climb up. After a narrow escape, everyone hurried to the safe zone, and after leaving here, the mobile phone signal gradually recovered. Lei Gay connected the phone from his sister and took off on his own and went to the safe zone to share the joy with her. But the next day, looking at the fighter jet flying over the head, everyone was desperate to realize that the situation there was not as good as expected.